Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is my birthday, and because I love rainbows, I've decided to make a rainbow cake, so that's what I'm gonna show you how to make today. So let's get started. First, preheat the oven to 350 degrees. Then grease 3 9-inch round cake pans and line them with a circle of parchment paper and set them aside for now. Then in the bowl of a stand mixer, sift in the cake flour, baking powder, and salt, and sift the ingredients into the bowl. Then with the mixer running on a low speed, add in the softened butter a little at a time. Once all the butter is added, continue mixing it on a low speed for another minute. Then scrape down the sides to make sure it's mixing evenly. Then continue mixing it for about another minute until it comes together like pastry dough. Then add in the sugar and half of the milk and mix them in on a low speed for 3 minutes, scraping down the sides occasionally to ensure even mixing. Then in a separate small bowl, add in the rest of the milk, egg whites, vanilla extract, and almond extract, and whisk them together until they're well combined. Then add about a third of it into the rest of the mixture. Mix it in on a low speed until it's combined. Scrape down the sides. Then add another third of the wet ingredients. Mix it in until it's combined. Scrape down the sides and add in the rest of the wet ingredients and mix it in until it's combined. Then continue mixing the batter on a low speed for another minute. Then finish it by hand to make sure all the ingredients are mixing in. Then divide the batter evenly into 3 separate bowls and color them red, orange, and yellow. Then pour each of the colors into each of the prepared cake pans and bake them in the oven for 20 to 25 minutes or until a toothpick inserted into the center comes out clean. If you're baking the cakes on 2 separate racks, then halfway through the baking time, rotate the pans and switch racks so they bake evenly. Then once they're done, remove them from the oven and place them onto a cooling rack and let them cool for about 15 minutes until they're cooled enough to handle. Then run a butter knife around the edges to loosen them from the pans. Then carefully turn them out of the pans and remove the parchment paper from underneath and set them aside to cool completely. Then you need to make up another batch of the white cake recipe. Divide it into 3 separate bowls and color each of them green, blue, and purple. Then pour them into the cake pans and bake them in the oven in the same way. And when they're done, remove them from the oven and let them cool on a cooling rack for 15 minutes. Run a butter knife around the edges and turn them out of the pan and let them cool completely. To make the vanilla buttercream frosting, in the bowl of a stand mixer, add in the softened butter and beat it on a medium to high speed for 5 to 8 minutes until it becomes really light and pale. making sure you scrape down the sides occasionally. Then in a separate large bowl, sift in the powdered sugar to add air and to get rid of lumps. Then with the mixer running on a low speed, add in about half of the powdered sugar, 1 spoonful at a time. Then once half of it is added, beat the mixture on a medium to high speed for 3 minutes, scraping down the sides when needed. Then turn it down to a low speed and continue adding the rest of the powdered sugar, again adding 1 spoonful at a time. Then add in the heavy cream or milk, 1 tablespoon at a time until it reaches a frosting-like consistency. Scrape down the sides when you need to. When it reaches a frosting-like consistency, beat it on a high speed for a few more minutes. Then add in the vanilla extract and mix it in until it's combined. Then finish it by hand to make sure all the ingredients are mixing in. Then to make simple syrup, which is optional, in a small saucepan add in the sugar and water and heat it on the stove until it boils and all the sugar has dissolved. Then set it aside and let it cool completely. Once the cakes are completely cooled, trim the tops to make sure they're nice and flat on top. Then to assemble the cake, spread a little frosting onto the cake board so the cake sticks to it. Add the purple cake layer onto the cake board, making sure it's in the center. Then brush on some of the simple syrup. The simple syrup is optional, it just makes sure the cake stays really moist. I'm filming this cake 2 days before I'm going to serve it, and so I'm adding the simple syrup so the cake stays moist. Then spread on a thin layer of frosting. Then add the blue layer. Brush on more simple syrup. Spread on more frosting. Add the green layer. Add simple syrup. Spread on more frosting. Add the yellow layer. Add simple syrup. Spread on more frosting. Add the orange layer. Add simple syrup. Spread on more frosting. Then add the red layer upside down on the top so the top is really nice and flat. Then cover the whole cake in a thin layer of frosting. This is the crumb coat, which stops any crumbs from showing on the outside of the cake. Don't worry about how it looks at this point. Then place the cake into the fridge for 30 minutes until the frosting is set. Then divide the rest of the frosting evenly into 6 separate bowls, adding double the amount of frosting to one of the bowls. Add red food coloring to the bowl with double the amount of frosting, and color the rest of them orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. And try and use gel food coloring so you get a nice color without changing the consistency of the frosting. Then place each of them into separate plastic bags. Spread the frosting down to one corner, press out the excess air, and seal the bag. Then cut a small hole in the corner of each of the bags. Once the frosting on the cake is set, remove it from the fridge. Then pipe the purple frosting around the bottom of the cake, going around just once. Try not to use up all the frosting. Then use the offset spatula to smooth it out. Don't worry if it's not perfect. Then pipe the blue frosting all around the cake just above the purple stripe. Clean off the offset spatula and smooth it out. And repeat that process until you reach the top. Don't worry about how smooth it is at this point. After you've piped on all the colors, use a frosting smoother to smooth out the frosting. Then fill in any gaps with a little more frosting. Clean off the frosting smoother and smooth it out again. And if there are any spots where colors can't be seen, pipe on more of the frosting into those spots. And smooth it out. Then once you're happy with how the sides look, add the rest of the red frosting to the top of the cake. And smooth out the top as best as you can. And that's how to make a rainbow cake. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I have so many more on my channel, so be sure to check them out and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.